Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucha Rewatch Season 3. This is episode 8, and on this episode, we will be covering Lucha Underground Season 3, episodes 15 and 16. John, I gotta know, I ask you every time, how'd you feel about these episodes?
I felt great about him, man. In this set, we got, the continuation and conclusion of the Battle of the Bulls tournament, plus Johnny Mundo's first title defense. So, on the whole, I'd say very productive episodes, plus some great stuff with the Reptile Tribe and a lot of other acts sprinkled in. So, yeah, it'll be fun to talk about these today.
Absolutely, man. You mentioned the Reptile Tribe. To me, these two episodes were kind of built around those people. Like the Reptile Tribe kind of owned episodes 15 and 16 in a way. And so did, in a way, Worldwide Underground. So let's just get right into episode 15. Obviously, we get the recap as always. And then we find out that Johnny Mundo will be defending the Lucha Underground World title against Sexy Star in a steel cage. And I don't know if they said this or not, but it ended up happening in episode 16. So it was a week from the announcement.
Yeah. I remember there was some, not controversy, but a bit of a mix up with that because I thought it was going to be one thing and then they had to push it back. But yeah, let's get right into this. We open up after the part of the course, recap of what's going to be focused on in a particular episode. We get into a Battle of the Bulls match. It's Killshot versus Dante Fox versus Mariposa versus Jeremiah Crane. And brother, I'm going to be brief with it. This match was fun as hell. I think of the two Battle of the Bulls matches we got on this particular episode, this was the better of the two. And to me, it was just nonstop. Like, once the foot was on the gas, it didn't take it off until it crashed into every wall imaginable. Everybody was doing something. Hell, even Mariposa got crowd support because she was extra vicious. I loved it. I feel like
Yeah, I even have in my notes about how cool it was that everyone got their moments to shine.
yeah, and that's a perfect way of articulating it, dude. I thought the energy in this was crazy. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Ultimately, Jeremiah Crane gets the win with the cranial contusion, and I believe he hit this on Dante Fox. And yeah, Jeremiah Crane advances, but again, everybody got great moments. Mariposa did like a crazy crossbody off the apron. Of course, the chair throwing spot that she was a part of. She did the butterfly effect to Killshot on the chair. Killshot got the killer instinct. Dante was looking beastly. Like everybody killed in this. What were some of your favorite moments and really just your overall thoughts on this match?
Honestly, the biggest moment to me that really stood out was Mariposa throwing the chairs, because that was like really the first time outside of the No Mas match that we really got to see her go to that next level and be really vicious and sadistic. And I loved that. And the crowd responded to it too.
Yeah, it was great, dude. I loved it. I really wish that would have been a harbinger of, better things to come for her that season. Fortunately, that wasn't necessarily the case, but it's always nice to retread this ground because it just shows you what a star she could be, within the context of Lucha Underground's aesthetic and what it promotes because she's just so freaking good at it. But yeah, Jeremiah Crane gets the win. And after the match, though, Killshot ain't done because again, Dante ate the cranial contusion, and then Killshot ends up like kicking him in the head and getting like a measure of revenge for the beatdowns that Dante Fox has laid on him. So we see a continuation of that brilliant narrative as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The post match was a great kind of moment for Killshot. It felt really cathartic for him. But we already know that their shit is not over at this point.
Oh yeah, far from it, brother, far from it. But any other thoughts you want to share about this match before we move right along?
Let's get it right into what happened next, which was Taya continuing the shooting of the Johnny Mundo documentary, this time trying to get PJ Black and Jack Evans to cooperate for an interview and failing miserably.
My favorite part in this, and like I guess you could call it a note, but I tweeted out at Taya when Jack Evans and PJ Black do the guitar thing, and PJ is like, "Oh, you can just add that guitar sound effect in post production, right?" And Taya just gets her sass on, "That's not your decision to make," and she does that little head jerk that I know some women do. Like I had friends that did that in school as a thing, of, not your decision to make, and I'm like, "Damn, Queen, laying down that law." But yeah, man, I love it. I think these guys, they're that great comedic heel act. And it makes me think of another like great comedic heel I've ever seen in WWE with the whole Rusev Day thing. I'm starting to learn that like comedy heels are the best heels to me, especially when the comedy's done right, as Worldwide Underground does so often. So yeah, they're just kind of falling apart. And then Johnny Mundo enters the frame. Like, what are you guys doing filming my documentary instead of like helping me beat Sexy Star tonight? Like, none of you could beat her one-on-one. Not you, PJ, not you, Jack, and not you, Taya. And they all look a bit, sad and frustrated about Johnny saying that. And, he more or less tells PJ Black and Jack Emmons, like, do you want to stay in Worldwide Underground? Yeah, of course you do. It's the best faction ever. Yeah, well, you better shape up, or else I'm going to find a new crew to give those bandanas to. So, yeah, Johnny Mundo laying down the law, man. He is not liking the failures of his cohorts here. And, he just wants them to shape up. But overall, very fun cinematic. And it was just great to see Johnny Mundo even being a scumbag to those that have always had his back.
I know, right? Like, man, Mundo can get away with anything just because of how damn good he is.
I know, right? That's what it means to be superior and to have power. But yeah, great cinematic. Anything else you want to say about this?
Yeah, I loved that apparently PJ Black doesn't know how one of those director cut boards works, because when Ty was like action, he was like, oh, so are we on now? Do we talk now? I just loved that bit.
Yeah, dude. It was so good. And especially seeing how the documentary itself turned out. Like, what a great little mini narrative in the midst of like Mundo's whole reign. It just
and especially because the whole thing played then at the end of the season.
Yeah, I love it. I love
like
it.
we
so
actually
much.
got to see the Johnny Mundo documentary.
The fruits of Taya's magnificent labor, my friend. She was brilliant behind the camera.
Speaking of Taya and labor, when's she gonna get pregnant and have a kid to raise with Mel Santos?
I know, like I don't know, but it can happen soon enough. We need the next generation of greatness to just arrive already and save.
I mean, Melissa's a month away from giving birth, dude.
I know, Jesus Christ, that's insane. So after this, we get Sexy Star training. Because apparently delivering pizzas is a lot of hard work. And she's boxing, and
I mean, she's a delivery woman, and we've seen her deliver a lot of things, but I'm not entirely sure that pizza is something that we've ever seen her deliver, even though we've tried multiple times.
I'm sure Vinny will put in a call to her eventually, but she's boxing, she's working out, she's hydrating. And really what's significant about this, like it'd be enough to kind of set the tone, like the rematch is coming, which is what I originally thought they were going to do. But it turns out like that this cinematic had kind of a dualistic purpose, because I think it services that end, but also this is the first appearance of the famed Spider.
Well, I mean, you say famed, I say infamous.
Yeah, really. And Sexy gets very angry upon seeing it. Man, that arachnophobia runs deep. And that's essentially the cinematic. I mean, Ashton, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, as far as the cinematic itself goes, I don't really know what to say, just because it's, Sexy Star training. You said it. I literally have those words in my notes to the letter, and that's really all it can be described as. But then the spider is just one big mystery at this point, because I don't honestly know if we're ever going to get closure on that, because now it's looking more and more like Sexy Star isn't even going to be under contract for seasons in the future. So it really kind of throws the spider storyline up in the air, doesn't it?
I'm really hoping that they go through with it anyway, and they just say that Sexy kept seeing spiders at such frequency, like it mentally broke her, and she just had to like leave the temple because it just the spider did what even the moth tribe couldn't do, and that was just destroy her mentally.
Which, I mean, the thing is, even if they don't want to bring her into for the sole purpose of writing her off, if you debut a new character with a spider theme, it would kind of be implied, and then all that would need to be said was, I got rid of Sexy Star, and now I'm going to get rid of you talking to someone in the ring.
Oh, dude. And honestly, with how Sexy is like beloved in the temple, I don't know how well received that news would be, in the wake of like all the stuff she's been a part of. But she is one of the more beloved characters at this point in time. To kind of imply that, yeah, I killed her because, spiders are venomous, that could get a lot of heat. So, yeah, I mean,
But it won't get heat. It'll get cheered because everyone in the temple knows what Sexy Star did.
And even if they didn't, it might still get cheered because you're all a pack of sadists, man. I mean, I run with it. I'm down with it. But, like, goddamn. But, yeah, so that's that cinematic. Up next, we get Cobra Moon versus Drago. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, there's not much to say about the match itself. What this was about was the appearance of Pindar and Vibora, because the match.
I feel like that's a great way to kind of sum up Lucha Underground as a whole, though, was The match was solid, but what was really important was what happened next.
Yeah. I mean, Lucha Underground at its core, and we've said this time after time after time, is the narrative goods it produces. The matches to me are just mediums with which to get that done at times. And even then, I'd say that belongs more to cinematics than anything else. But yeah, there's one point that Drago's on the top rope looking to end Cobra Moon. Pindar, tosses him off of there, and the beatdown begins. And then the Lucha Super Friends, that being Aerostar and Phoenix, they come out seemingly, turning the tide back in Drago's favor. But Cobra Moon summons Vibora. And goddamn, dude, rewatching this again, because I feel like you and I both probably had a good bit of distance from this. I know that even Kane himself has said in interviews, oh yeah, Braun, like I see so much of myself in him. And I adore Braun Strowman. Nah, man. Kane's spiritual successor, and I'm speaking 98 Kane when he was tombstoning everybody and just fucking dominant, is definitely Vibora. That man has a...
Well, dude, and the crazy thing about Vibora is, like, I've seen this dude wrestle Johnny Mundo before in, like, a decent, like, 15-plus minute match. He's got, like, Donovan Dijak level in-ring chops.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I have yet to see that match. I'm sure at one point it'll be on YouTube or someplace where I can watch it, because I really should, because you've always mentioned that match when extolling the virtues and just how good Vibora is. And yeah, to know that, and just even getting a snapshot with this appearance, this guy is something special. He really is. And like, this is another point where, if I'm honest with you, dude, and then I want to get your thoughts. Striker's commentary, again, kind of irritated me. I don't like that he tries to interpret the crowd chants a certain way. Because when they were starting to chant Luchasaurus, again, he tried to say, much like...
Oh, they're taunting him.
They're taunting him. Like, no, dude, they're fucking... Like, I took it that they're impressed. I took it that they're like, the hell is this? And how do I get more of this? So, yeah, I'm really kind of getting perturbed of him, like, ascribing certain, like, motivations or feelings to certain chants.
Well, I mean, not only that, but also the ridiculous exaggeration of, this guy's got to be 7 feet tall easy, when the performer is 6'5".
Right. I mean, I will
like,
kind of let
he's not even closer to 7 feet than he is to 6 feet. He's still under 6'6", which is like the midway point. Like, it's ridiculous, Striker.
I mean, I won't be as critical on him for that, if for no other reason. I can understand why you'd really want to sell the awe of the moment, like, who the hell is this? It was kind of like when, a guy like Great Khali to me debuted, and they're like, I've never seen anything like this. So I think Striker was aiming for a similar effect, but this is the case where it's like show, not tell. Bieber was destroyed.
But the thing is, like, with Khali, he is a shoot 7 feet and like 2 or 3 or 4 inches tall. Like, he big. Whereas with Vibora, I mean, he stepped over the top rope, but he kind of struggled with it. And then you say he's 7 feet tall. Like, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I'm not a big fan of saying shit like that. I guess I understand putting him over as this giant because relative to the rest of the roster, he is. But if he would stand next to Angelico, he wouldn't even be that much taller than him.
Right.
Like,
and again, which is why I say, like, I think a more proper recourse would be to just really emphasize the destruction in the ring, because Vibora was laying waste to everybody. I mean, that double chokeslam he did to Aerostar and Phoenix, I believe it was just like, that was amazing. And then the tombstone to end it again. I mean, this guy is dominance personified, whether you're, and again, he's not 7 feet, but even if he was 7 feet or 6'5" or however tall he is, fact is, he laid waste to everybody, and that's what really should have been emphasized by Striker's commentary. All the same, though, putting that aside, this was great for the Reptile Tribe, and singularly, this was great for Vibora. I mean, this guy put his stamp on that shit. Is there anything you want to add?
All I know is, when we go to the temple, I want to get a picture of me standing next to Vibora.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Don't tell anyone, but I'll be taller than him.
Okay. But we get a Sexy Star and Mariposa cinematic. And this is the first eye roll of the whole thing, because Sexy Star, just kind of manhandles Mariposa, who, I mean, granted, even though of your back history, she hasn't done anything to you in this present moment. You throttle her by the throat, you push her against the wall, more or less as you guys tortured me for 6 months. You tried breaking me and this and that, and you would have thought that you'd know better to try this again. I made you say no mas last time. If I find out that you're doing this, I'm going to make sure that there's no air left for you to say anything at all.
You know, I wonder if Sexy Star thinks that flies and ants are the same thing.
I mean, probably. She really showed herself this season to be not that bright. I mean, I don't mean to be a dick, but I mean, come on now. Between telling Mac, no, I don't need you at ringside, even though a guy is literally packing heat in the form of a faction, and yeah, clearly spiders and butterflies are the same thing, like sexy. Just I don't know. Just educate yourself, for fuck's sake.
I wonder if she thinks that bats and foxes are the same thing.
I mean, again, with the intelligence that she's demonstrated, I'm open to this woman believing anything. Literally anything.
I mean, I'm only asking because it seems like she can't tell the difference between a thing and a version of that thing with wings.
And Mariposa essentially throws that in her face, saying, look, sexy, if I was going to put something in your locker, if I was going to engage you psychologically like this, it wouldn't be with something ugly like a spider. It would be with something beautiful like a butterfly.
Like a butterfly.
Literally my fucking namesake, you idiot.
Sexy yeah, and this whole time, Sexy Star is speaking in Spanish, which means that she knows that mariposa means butterfly.
Yeah, you're fluent. Don't act like you don't know. Don't be proud of your knowledge.
It's her native tongue.
Yeah,
she was born and raised in Mexico.
Get on your own level. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if you like hit your head or something, but like, get yourself straight, woman. Jesus.
Handle your shit.
She punches a hole through the wall, which admittedly was a really cool visual, and just props to Lucha Underground's like effects and, you know, how they do these cinematics again.
Oh God, you're bringing up Lucha Underground's effects. I can't wait until we get to the final cinematic of episode 16.
Oh God, yeah. But, you know, that said, we get to our next match, our main event match, the second Battle of the Bulls bout of the night. PJ Black versus Angelico versus Jack Evans versus Son of Havoc. And really, my only mental note here, and I'm going to give the floor to you to talk about the
well, no, I really don't have many notes about this either. All I have is that it was a fun, high-flying, high-intensity match, and that PJ won.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially the only thing I would add is, man, was it great to see Angelico, and man, is it great knowing in the grand scheme of things that he'll be back for season 4. And please, I hate that I have to say this about both him and Evilise, two acts that I do like. Please stay healthy. I want to see them go bell to bell a whole season. You know,
right? I want to see them both be on episode 1 and episode whatever the last episode is of a season, and not miss any in between.
Yeah, the only excuse you have to miss one this season, guys, is just a roster rotation, which happens. But I swear to God, if I hear that either one of them is injured, I'm just gonna jump out that window because I won't die anyway. So yeah, it was great seeing Angelico here. He's insane. The way he throws knee strikes, just gave me goosebumps thinking about what him and Mundo are going to be able to do together. I think that could be one of Lucha Underground's best feuds. But of course, I'd say that I'm the Mundo mark, but I'm also right. Great back and forth with all 4 guys. And like you said, PJ Black ultimately won. And I loved how he did it here. He threw Jack Evans into the handspring elbow of Son of Havoc, then, you know, tosses Son of Havoc out into Angelico. And then he lays down telling Jack, hey, pin me, you know, that worldwide underground solidarity. But then he cradles Jack for the 3 count. So PJ Black gets the win. And, you know, looking back at this episode, which was still very early in the grand scheme of the season, it was really nice to see some of the moments and some of the shine that they gave PJ Black, because the dude's hella talented. And I think we were both, you know, the night we watched it, pleasantly surprised that PJ won, because we thought it was going to go to Angelico. I think I remember laughing at him like, good luck with that revenge now, bitch. But, you know, it was a fun match. But I definitely think, again, the first Fatal 4-Way we got on this episode was so much better than this one. But this was still a good match.
I got to say, man, it's really crazy to think back that episode 15, which is the one we're talking about, is when the Sexy Star Spider storyline started. Like, I feel like that's like, this episode happened a year ago, and it's like we got so little follow-up after this. Like, I think we got a grand total of like 4, maybe 5 segments, none of which had any kind of actual substance where someone was revealed to be the mystery spider person or anything. Just more and more speculation and Sexy Star angrily going after completely innocent people.
Who's the real villain here?
I mean, I think we found out since this episode aired, it's Sexy Star.
And you know what? that, you know what that means, conversely, that Johnny Mundo was the real hero of the story all along.
Just like how Conan was technically the hero of the story in season 1 because Vampiro ended up being a dark Sith Lord.
I know. Oh, Lucha Underground and your tendency to subvert expectations. Oh, man. All right.
Subversion is the best.
Indeed it is. After this, we get the El Dragon Azteca Jr. and Rey Mysterio cinematic. I did not forget that there was a cinematic in this bundle of episodes, so suck it, life. And I love that El Dragon Azteca Jr. pretty much tells Rey, of course, in a much nicer way than I'm going to, sorry, Rey, you're an old cripple thanks to Matanza, and you don't have control of my life anymore. I'm seeking my vengeance. That's what the path I'm on is telling me. I'm going to kill Matanza. And Rey tries urging him, no, Azteca, it's not your fight. Oh, my back. Oh, God. So he really can't.
And not only it's not your fight, but also it's a fight that you can't win.
Yeah, says the guy laid up literally in a bed. So Azteca, he's like, the days of you telling me what to do are over. And at first, and I gotta say in hindsight, which, is always the best thing to have, right? Looking at the rest of the season.
That's why we do these, brother.
Exactly. I thought that this was going to be a turn. And I'm not even talking like in the heelish sense necessarily, though that is a part of it, for the Azteca character. Like, I thought it was just going to be like full on, yeah, I'm pursuing vengeance. And I guess in a way it kind of was, but not nearly to the degree that I anticipated it would be. Like, I even thought he'd get his hands on Rey and beat up Rey if he needed to, but that never happened. Because, like, just the tone of him saying, the days of you telling me what to do are over. I'm going to kill Matanza. Like, he really seems at this point to me consumed by his ideas of retributive justice, justice as vengeance. And I still really love the character, and I love the narrative potential of the character, but I don't know if they went the places that I thought they would, which doesn't make it a bad thing, mind you. It's funny seeing this and then looking at the rest of the season, like, okay, so he really wasn't that bad, all things considered. I mean, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Because, I think I remember us reviewing this originally, and you were like, oh, shit, El Dragon Azteca Jr. to go down the dark path. And I was just like, I don't even remember how I reacted, but I definitely remember one of us, or maybe even both of us, thinking, like, yeah, El Dragon Azteca Jr., he's gonna do some dark shit in the future, and it might even get darker than just breaking Pentagon's arm. But I don't think it ever really got worse than that, did it?
No, it didn't. Because I think at this point now, I don't want to speak for you, obviously, but like, because I know from the beginning that I was talking about the duality of like Rey's conception of justice versus Azteca's, which could more appropriately be described as a contrast. And I know, I think at first you were kind of giving Azteca like the benefit of that, like, oh, we don't know, let's wait. But I think this was a moment where we both were kind of like, yeah, it seems like he's kind of changing a little bit, kind of breaking from Rey. And yeah, he really didn't get that much darker after breaking Pentagon's arm, which again, not saying is a bad thing. It's just I really anticipated that was the route they were going to go after him just basically telling Rey you can't do
well, and I think a lot of that has to do with that he demanded for a death match with Matanza and lost.
Yeah, so maybe that kind of quelled the revolutionary fire, the fire for vengeance.
Yeah, he was like getting all fired up, like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna get a death match, and I'm gonna put Matanza down for good. Okay, maybe after a few months of rest. Oh.
Yeah, it's like my shoulder bone and my ear switched places. Like my whole anatomy has been mixed up. So I really
it's like after someone takes a bad beating in Dragon Ball Super and it's just
or he finds out that Matanza's too strong. Nani! And then bam! Right through the building. Oh man. God. All right. Well,
let's get on to episode 6, which we start with a match, which is actually the Battle of the Bulls finals: the Mac versus PJ Black versus Jeremiah Crane versus Cage.
Yeah, episode 16 kicks off with a bang. We get the Battle of the Bulls finals here, and yeah, I'd say a really fun match. I mean, Cage to start, just so explosive and so fun. I love the sequence where he's just handing everybody their ass.
Dude, Cage is the man. I freaking love Cage.
Dude, so good. Just so good.
He's gonna get his hands on that championship sometime in the next year.
Dude, it's inevitable.
I
Like,
really do. I mean, I'm rarely the guy to like lay claims like this. It's more really your territory. But I'm gonna say, I think 2018 is gonna be Cage's year.
dude, I hope you're right, man.
And you can lay claim, you can attest to when I say I really don't go out on a limb for people like that.
No, that definitely is more my territory. You're absolutely right, which it makes it all the more meaningful that you're doing it because Cage is just the kind of athlete. And what's so great about if your prediction bears fruit, if you are correct, it'll feel so earned. Like, I still remember when this guy came into Lucha Underground, and I know you explicitly said, like, we both consented that, yeah, this guy is Lucha Underground's Lesnar. He's going to get the title right away. And he's still looking the way he looks and performing the way he performs, has still never been a world champion. So when his time comes, I think it's going to be the biggest fucking deal. Like, it is going to feel so earned. And I think
God, could you imagine if Vince McMahon got his hands on this guy and he actually pissed clean?
I know, right? Jesus.
Vince would not know what to do. Like, he would. I feel like the quality of writing on Raw would go up because Vince wouldn't even be able to do anything. He would just be trapped in his office every day, masturbating all day.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about, and again, I'm not saying that either booking philosophy is wrong necessarily. I mean, you could look at the, the early Lesnar model of 02 and 04 and make your own judgment. But I actually, again, in hindsight, which is a word you're going to be hearing a lot from me this series, and you already have.
Well, yeah, that's the point. It's literally meant to be hindsight. It's literally rewatch.
But like, I'm actually really happy they've done the slow burn in terms of like getting that Lucha Underground Championship with Cage, because it really allows you, I think, to appreciate him for the athlete that he is, and not just another dominant force simply because the writing says he's a dominant force. Like, we want to see him succeed now, and especially with the whole gauntlet storyline and everything, which I don't know how Cage is going to fit into that now that King Cuerno has it, but Cage is just such an entity that, like, yeah, if he would have gotten the title and stuff, it would have been fun. But I mean, maybe, down the line, we would have been saying, well, this is just par for the course for every other kind of monster in the history of wrestling. But Cage has really been able to distinguish himself by having to struggle, but looking so damn good while doing it. I mean, Jesus Christ. He dominated everybody. And then Tejano comes in and he screws him out of this whole thing because he hits him, with his fist, with the bull rope wrapped around it. And then Jeremiah Crane gets the pump kick. I think everybody kind of got their big moves on Cage here because I know Mac got a stunner and then PJ did a springboard 450 that looked gorgeous. And yeah, like, Cage gets eliminated. So it took the effort of 4 people, Tejano, Jeremiah Crane, Mac, and PJ Black, just to put down Cage. Protected as fuck. So is there anything you want to say about Cage's performance before we continue along with this match, or do you just want to take over the match and like talk about other things you liked when it came down to these 3, Mac, Jeremiah, and PJ?
No, I love how well they protect Cage, though, because that's the thing. Like, every time it seems like he's about to win the title, a new obstacle shows up for him that screws him out. Like,
yeah,
even with the gauntlet, it felt like he was getting to a point where he was full blown unstoppable. And then all of a sudden, Katrina's interested in the gauntlet. And then because she wants the gauntlet, Mill's going after him. And then because Mill's going after him and Jeremiah Crane wants to impress Katrina, Jeremiah goes after it too. And then, oh, by the way, guess what? Mill has unfinished business with King Cuerno. So now King Cuerno has the gauntlet, and Cage has literally nothing to do with that entire feud. So Cage is on the outside looking in yet again.
And I mean, even going a bit further back, when, Chavo screwed him out of the Gift of the Gods, and then Cage contrived that plan to get Gift of the Gods back. Who happened to be the champion when he decided to cash it in? The only person that's more of like a monstrous entity than he is, Matanza, because of course he was. So I love it.
And that match was amazing.
It was so good. God, and see, that's the beauty of not hot-shotting the title on Cage, is look how much you and I are anticipating him finally getting that moment. And I became a fan of his because of his struggle. Because I don't know if I would have been had they just given him the title right away. I'm going to be honest. But really getting to see his brilliance week in and week out and knowing what he's worth, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm ready for a Cage World title reign. But unfortunately, this match would not be the time. So then we go to these 3 guys. And Jeremiah Crane was the next guy to get eliminated thanks to a 3/4 like off the top rope stunner from the Mac, which looked sick. I love all the spins that Mac puts on the stunner to keep it fresh. I gotta give him credit for that.
He really does, man. He's awesome. I love Mac. He's like, I feel like a lot of people compare him and Keith Lee, but they're so opposite because Keith Lee, like, he's likable and he's kind of a baby face, but he really is basically just a monster heel that people like.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mac is like, I mean, the Mac is, he's Daniel Bryan in a big black dude's body.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great comparison because, again, you know, when he's not feuding with Johnny Mundo, I do love the Mac and I love what he's about. And when he won, you know, his third of the trios titles with Dante Fox and Killshot at Ultima Lucha Trace, it just felt so deserved because you're just, again, like Cage. And that's another thing. If I could just say as a quick side note, I love Lucha Underground's ability to make really amazing, genuinely likable baby faces. Because
that right there, though, to me is a big reason that Lucha Underground will always be better than WWE because WWE has straight up forgotten how to make a viable, credible main event babyface that people like.
Because even off the top of my head, just to name 3, Mac, Cage, Son of Havoc for me. Like 3 baby faces I love, 3 baby faces that have yet to be world champions, but 3 baby faces that if they got their turn, I'd have no problem believing it whatsoever. I'd be like, yeah, it's legit to me. So credit to Lucha Underground, man, because Cage is another one where he's just so good at what he does. And then it comes down to him and PJ. And I feel like I blinked and I missed it because he just stuns PJ and he gets the pin there. So Max is like, fuck all y'all, I'm taking you all downtown.
Well, and you know what? Something I wanted to say earlier that I forgot about that I'm just remembering now. I also really love that PJ is kind of, throughout the course of season 3, kind of entrenched himself as the second in command of Worldwide Underground. Like, he is Johnny Mundo's underling in a sense. Like, there's Johnny Mundo, but when Johnny Mundo is not around, the guy that you can rely on to get the job done more than anyone is PJ Black.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think he definitely kind of really put a punctuation on that notion of him being second in command with how he took both Prince Puma and Rey Mysterio to the limit with competitive matches. So yeah, I absolutely agree with your assessment of PJ's place.
I can't wait till we get to those matches because those were a couple of my favorite matches of the season.
Oh, dude, I was so happy for you because you've been a guy for so long that, like I said, like, no, guys, PJ Black is actually really good, believe me. And I felt like, especially the Puma match, more so than the Rey match, was such an indication for you and your viewpoint because, that was fantastic. But Matt gets.
I loved like after the Puma match being able to go on Reddit and just see everyone talking about, wow, PJ is so good. Where has this been?
And here you are
pulling it's been under your noses all along, bitches.
Yeah, and here you are pulling a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and you're just thinking, yep. So, we go from that. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one to the one of the
bathroom scene. Phoenix and Aerostar trying to find Drago, looking in the stalls, and then who shows up? Cobra Moon, and she tells them, hey, Drago's with us now. And they're just like, oh, but Drago took a vow a millennia ago. And she's just like, oh, yeah, well, he broke it just like we're about to break you. And then Pindar and Vivo to show up. And it's a 3-on-1 beatdown. And it takes a while, but eventually they do get the upper hand on Phoenix and Aerostar. And just to add a little something in here, I love the sound effects that they added for Viboda in this.
Yes.
It was like this.
Yeah.
It was so good. But yeah, man, the 3-on-2 numbers advantage ended up winning the day. And then Cobra tells Phoenix and Aerostar, next time it'll be my Drago that leaves you for dead.
Ooh, ominous.
God, I love everything about this Reptile Tribe angle. If this would have happened in 2017, I would have had to give it an award somehow.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Reptile Tribe is fucking dope. Freaking love them. And Cobra Moon is just such, again, as I said last week, such a great character performer. Just awesome. And so you pretty much covered all the bases there. Sexy Star and the Mac. Not going to say too much about this. These guys are just excited. You know, Sexy Star's so happy for the Mac that he won Battle of the Bulls. And he says, now it's your turn, Sexy. Go and whoop Johnny Mundo's ass and become the first ever 2-time Lucha Underground champion. Kudos to you, Mac, for being such a good friend that you could say that with a straight face. And then Sexy's like, oh, it'll be an honor to defend the title against you. Vamonos, let's go. So she's all excited about her title match. And then we get the yeah, exactly. We get the spider crawling on the floor there. So, ooh, spiders. And that's the end of that cinematic. Is there
No, I just love that you were like Vamonos, because that's just like throwback to when I was like 11 years old and Dora the Explorer was a thing.
I know, right? It was a thing for all of us, my friend. It was a simpler time then. But do you have anything you want to say about this cinematic?
Yeah, well, I mean, what is there to say? These two are absolute fools if they think that either one of them has a chance against Johnny Mundo, and we know now in hindsight that they didn't, and we were right to believe in him all along.
I know, right? God, it feels so good to be right, which is all the time. No, in all seriousness, because people are probably like, wait, is that Scumbag or Goodfellow or both? I don't even know anymore. But regardless, we go from that. This is a cinematic heavy sequence, because we go from Sexy Star and the Mac to then Jeremiah, Dario, and Katrina all in one kind of seamless sequence, because Jeremiah is talking with Dario, and you find out the nature of that meeting was Jeremiah wants a match with who he believes to be Katrina's boyfriend, Mil Muertes. And, you know, at first Cueto's hesitant because he's like, you know, Jeremiah, I like you, but tonight you got your ass kicked. And then, you know, Jeremiah's like, you know, just give me the match. And Dario's like, all right, you got your match with Mil. But it goes a step further than that. Jeremiah is kind of rummaging around in Cueto's office. He takes the tile like off the ceiling and gets a Ouija board. And Cueto's like, what are you doing? I'm retrieving something. And then, you know, he leaves with the Ouija board. He collides it.
He also said that he left that Ouija board there when he was a kid. So he's been in the temple in his life like a lot, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Like, it almost would seem like a lot. And like, actually, I'm really glad you posed that, because I don't know if we ever really considered this at length in our original review. But what was the temple before Cueto became proprietor? Or was it just like a family business? Like, did the father have anything to do with it? Was it just a separate independent thing from the Cuetos?
No, it was an old dining hall that they used to use for big feasts and events and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the next level Lucha Underground lore, people.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Jeremiah leaves with the Ouija board. He bumps into Katrina and he says, you know, remember this? Remember when we used to play with this together? And Katrina's like, you just lost an opportunity at the Lucha Underground Championship, and you're concerning yourself with that. And the Jeremiah says, no, I'm actually done with that. I'm actually more concerned about next week when I get to beat up your boyfriend, Mil Muertes. And Katrina just pretty much scoffs at it because, of course, you know, Mil isn't her boyfriend, but, you know, Jeremiah doesn't know that. And then when Jeremiah walks away, he ends up walking through Katrina. So again, great, you know, use of effects there and stuff by the Lucha Underground team. Is there anything you want to say about this?
No, let's move on.
All right, we go from that to our main event. Johnny
of the evening.
Yes. Johnny Mundo versus Sexy Star. God, I love laughing at the failure of others. Like,
in a steel cage.
In a steel cage, yeah, so that Sexy can have all of her sadness and inequity just trapped inside, and inadequacy. Oh God, I wanted to be champion. Yeah, I'm sure you wanted to be a lot of things. Like, not a failure.
I'm trapped in a chain cage of emotion.
And once again, you know, baby faces, you need to improve your steel cage game something fierce. Because even me, as the ardent, you know, Mundo supporter until the day I die, there was clearly a point where Sexy could have had this match won. You just had to put your legs over the cage and drop. But you're like, no, I have to be brave. Escaping the cage is just a sign of running. You mean winning? Again, I'm calling into question here sincerely Sexy Star's intelligence as a character.
When did season 3 Sexy Star become Dragon Ball Super Goku?
I know, right? Dude, on point. So then she ends up diving off the cage for a cross body. Have you not even paid attention to this man's obliques and the damage that they can absorb? And you think a cross body is going to get
Look, man, I appreciate Johnny Mundo's abs, and they are absolutely the greatest abs to exist in the history of existence. But you got to give Sexy Star credit. She's got a pretty nice set of abs herself.
I mean, she does. She does. Apparently, again, to your parallel of Dragon Ball Super Goku, what she lacks in intelligence, for physical fitness, she makes up for it. So yeah, it was a great spot in all seriousness. I like that Mundo, would just really be aggressive in parts and sexy, just hell, she had a great spot where she crotched Mundo on the rope, but she ended up using his back as kind of like a catapult to, scale the cage. And, I think they used the cage pretty well. I still think the best cage match that Lucha Underground had was the very first one between Mundo and King Cuerno, for no other reason than the finish, which is just breathtaking. In fact, it's funny because I'd say the sequence that the cage matches happened would be how I would rank them personally. Like, that cage match is first in quality. Then Cage Mundo I thought was a lot of fun because it just used everything. And then this was serviceable, but I'm sure Lucha Underground will have many, more cage matches in the future. In fact, they did later on, Dragon Azteca and Matanza, which I would rank that above this personally. But Mundo, where it really gets good though, is the heel work from Mundo, because he wins by taking Sexy Star's mask, exposing her Uggo face. God, I remember the live reactions for this episode. I was just incensed. And then he drops down to the floor. You remember the last part? Because rewatching it, I kind of smiled. Because when actually, no, we'll get to that in a second. So he drops down, and like crowds booing. He's getting the heat, which he's supposed to, because he's a genuine heel. All of these, no, I want to be cool. Yeah, fuck your coolness. I'm doing my job, and I'm doing it better than you. And he's celebrating with his championship. God, I don't want the reign to be over, but I know it is. And he's just going up the steps and he's celebrating. And Matt Striker was like, that was a bitch move. I don't care for the opinion of a retired
dude. I hate that Striker said that. Like, find a better word to describe that move than calling it a bitch move, because you're literally implying, oh, that's a move a woman would do.
Yeah. Oddly enough,
when Mundo just did it to beat a woman, because Sexy Star refused to take that way out. So calling it a bitch move is the worst possible adjective you could have used to describe that.
Realizing that Striker used to be a teacher, it just explains so much how our current education system is in such disarray. You're pathetic, sir, and you need to do better. I think what you meant was, what a brilliant move by a guy that we already know will do anything it takes to win because he's smart. For fuck's sake. And then he's on top of the steps, reveling in the fact that that's an F on that shit, fact that he is the best. And then who comes from out of nowhere? Mac with the stunner, which again made me smile because I thought about our live reactions, because I'm like, you see that sight? That's what it's gonna be forever. And then when Mac comes in, I'm like, what the fuck? So
I remember that exactly. Yes, I died laughing when you did that
too. Dude, I'll tell you, my only regret again is that reign got spoiled on me, because I still think I gave great reactions throughout the whole reign. But just imagine if I didn't know what was going to happen. They would have been even, I probably would have.
Yeah, like if you didn't know that he was holding it until Ultima Lucha, you might have actually died multiple times throughout the season.
So in an odd way, that commenter might have actually saved my life, because I was able to temper it just enough to keep everything going. But yeah, Max stuns Mundo. He poses with the title, and looking at it, objectively, and not as the Mundo mark, which I did that night, it was a great, moment for the Mac asserting himself. He just saw his friend get screwed in the worst, most disrespectful way possible when you think about the Lucha Libre culture and who Sexy is. And this is where I will give Matt Striker credit, because he did have one good line in here, where he said, Vamp, that mask that we know has saved Sexy Star's life just cost her the Lucha Underground Championship. I thought that was a good line. I'm going to give credit.
But it's also not true, because the mask was only a symptom of the root problem for Sexy Star, which is that Johnny Mundo owns her face.
He beat her 3 times in a row.
And the beautiful thing about that is that now that Prince Puma is gone from the temple, there's no one left that can beat Johnny Mundo.
You're so right, which means 2-time Lucha Underground champion is inevitable.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Puma was the only one that had Johnny's number, and now he's gone. So Johnny got free reign to just do what he wants. I mean, unless Matanza shows back up, because he seemed to be like Mundo seemed to be genuinely afraid of him.
Dude, God, that makes me want to get into another discussion, but this really isn't the appropriate forum for that.
Well,
But
what was the discussion going to be about?
I was gonna say, like, because I don't know, like, how the dissolution of Worldwide Underground is gonna take place, but if they're gonna turn Mundo at any point back into a babyface, that would be the only reason I'd get excited, is the quality of heel that he would get to work with, like Mil Muertes and like Matanza. That's it. And I don't even know if Mil is necessarily even a heel anymore, but he can be, like, on the flip of a switch, which is what makes him so brilliant. Like, yeah, I definitely will always prefer Mundo as a heel, but in terms of the matches, there's some good stuff to be had with him as a babyface as well. Matanza is definitely one of them, because bless Jeff Cobb, he is just a phenom.
Yeah, he is. He's quickly becoming my favorite wrestler in the world.
That's amazing, dude. That's high praise coming from you, because right now I know you're riding that Naito train all the way.
Oh, absolutely. But that's also mainly because Naito has more exposure than Cobb.
Right. But Cobb, man, and Cobb, though, he's starting to get that exposure a little bit himself. Like, we were just talking yesterday about how well liked he is in Japan, which is great.
I love that, dude. If he ends up in G1, he might surpass Naito. I don't know.
Oh, shit. Oh, God. Yeah, see, this has definitely been a worthwhile Lucha Underground rewatch. All this shit coming out today. Dude, that's awesome, though, because Cobb, I even remember tweeting one time. I forget what it was. Maybe it was after we watched Matanza match. And I actually took to tweeting. And keep in mind, this is the same guy that I reserve most of my biggest praise for, Mundo. But I said, like, Cobb is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. You better appreciate him while you have him. And, like, because, I mean, the way the guy works is just insane. Like, he's so good, dude. And to hear you say that just makes me smile, because that's why I'm saying, guys, outside the WWE bubble, wrestling is so good. And even within it, you can get a few kernels of this or that. But, man, New Japan, PWG, Lucha Underground, like, that's the good shit right there. So good. So, yeah,
And to answer the question from Dragon Man X90 in chat, we will most likely be reviewing NXT tonight after it's over.
Yes, because it's looking like it's packed. We got Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce and Aleister Black versus Adam Cole. Dude, imagine when the day finally comes that Adam Cole and Johnny Mundo fuse to form the perfect wrestler. Like, that's just it. Just give them all the titles. But unfortunately, Mundo was just a singular entity on this night, which is why he ate a stunner. Mac posed with the title. Sexy gave the hearts in solidarity. And you'd think that would be the end of the show, but it wasn't, because we got a Drago and Reptile Tribe cinematic. And you mentioned, when I mentioned the effects of, like, Sexy punching the hole through the wall, you couldn't wait to talk about Lucha Underground effects when it comes to episode 16. So I'm going to give you the floor on this one.
So would that wrestler's name be Jana Mundol?
You know what? We'll say yes for now, but we'll also put a little asterisk by it, subject to change, because I do like it, but I'm wondering if something better could be out there.
Yeah, I was just trying to configure the names in my brain, and I kind of short-circuited until I figured out that one.
Fair enough. So what did you think about this Reptile Tribe Drago cinematic?
Dude, I everything about it was cool, but the fake fire was really fake fire. Like, it looked so bad. That was really the only complaint I had about this segment, though, was just that the fire looked super duper CGI and bad. Like,
interesting, because I feel like
I was honestly gonna say, like, the CGI kind of reminded me of something you would see in, like, Birdemic.
It's funny, dude, because, like, I'm not saying it was, like, perfect by any means, but why I'm surprised is I felt like on first viewing, when we did, like, a formal Twitter review, I thought we both thought that moment of him, like, breathing fire was pretty badass. Like, being
dude, the moment itself was absolutely badass, but the CGI was not good.
Yeah, fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, the Cobra Moon is essentially starving Drago into submission, which is cruel as fuck. But again, I'm down with it, man.
She's literally forging Stockholm syndrome in him, because she's gonna starve him out, and then when she gives him food, he'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much," and see her as the source of his food, even though she's also the source of his starving. He won't think about that at that time, because she's the source of his food, and that's all that matters.
Realizing how sadistic and psychologically brilliant Cobra Moon is. Cobra Moon, if you're listening to this, shot in the dark, you want to do something sometime? Because, like, that ability, I am totally down with that, man. That is fucking awesome. Like, Forced starvation. That's brilliant. Now I know what I need to do to James to get him to comply to shit.
John.
Yeah.
She's married.
Fuck, man. Relationships were meant to fail. I know. I've been a part of enough of them to know that's a fact. But anyway, that's how I would get James to comply, is just forcefully starve him out. So yeah, thank you, Cobra Moon. That's amazing. I now know the true course for proper human relations is just starve the other person until they see things the way you do. God, Lucha Underground is such an educational program. I love it so much. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Great. You can take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed talking about these 2 episodes. I feel like this is like the most enjoyable episode of Lucha Rewatch we've done this season.
Oh, definitely. The energy was definitely there. I thoroughly
enjoyed it. And do you know why?
Why?
Because of the Reptile Tribe.
Yeah, and Johnny Mundo retaining his championship. Long live Reptiles and Mundo.
I wonder what tribe Mundo is in, or if he just has his own tribe that he just created out of thin air.
He's in the Sexcellent tribe. That's the tribe that he's a part of.
I mean, he's fully capable of creating tribes out of thin air. There's no one stopping him.
I mean, I did write the mythology of his abs, and I'm actually sure that that's correct.
The Mundo Ab Tribe. It's got such a ring to it.
Yes. But yeah, man.
Somebody's defecting from the Eagle Tribe over here.
Absolutely. But I really enjoyed doing this with you today. I hope everybody listening enjoyed it. We are going to be doing an NXT review tonight, which is going to be so much fun to talk about because, again, we got Ember Moon and Peyton Royce and Aleister Black versus Adam Cole. That match is going to be, dude, fucking sick.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Baby!
Love it.
Baby!
God, that episode. But yeah, man, I'm gonna hand it over to you to take us home, and I'll see you guys again for NXT tonight.
All right, everybody. NXT comes on in a little bit over an hour. If you're not aware, it's coming on a little bit earlier tonight. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time, or adjust that for whatever time zone you're in. I'm sure there's a website that'll allow you to do that. So hopefully you guys remember to watch that, and then tune in here at 8 p.m. Eastern time for our review of the show, which will, again, hopefully be enjoyable for everyone, and hopefully this was as well. Check out the description. Remember to leave a like on the video, comment, tell us what you thought about these episodes. Let us know any kind of other thoughts you might have of Lucha Underground. Maybe you're rewatching along with us and you want to tell us what you're seeing, and maybe picking up on stuff that we might have missed on our rewatch and stuff like that. Remember to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell icon for notifications, and of course, you have 2 ways that you can support us. Buy our merch on Teespring or donate to the Patreon. It's only $3 a month on Patreon to get full access to the TWitWoW patron Discord channel. That's our most intimate sort of version of social media. We're not really active on Twitter or Facebook anymore. But if you get on the Discord, you get basically 24/7 access to one or both of us. And that's win-win. And it's win-win-win-win because that $3 goes a long way. Because, yeah, you get access to the Discord, but then it also adds up over time. And eventually you can use your money that you've been donating over time to buy live reaction requests, live reaction review requests. Plus, it also goes into the big community pot, which eventually I'm hoping will get to the $120 community goal we have set, so we can start doing progress live reactions. That should be a lot of fun. And other than that, I guess remember to follow us on Twitter just in case any emergencies pop up, and we want to make sure you guys know kind of big deal things going down, whether it's a commentary we want to do or a commentary we were planning on doing that we're not going to be able to do, or rescheduling or anything like that. Those announcements will probably be on Twitter first. Of course, like the Facebook and check out the subreddit if you are already on Reddit. And we will see you guys tonight for our NXT review. Stay tuned.